All right, so you just received the lease renewal from your landlord, from the owner of your condo or co-op, multifamily, from the property manager, whoever it is, and they are asking for an increase that you do not want to pay. Rarely does it come back, unless I'm representing the owner, rarely does it come back as right at the exact same price, if not at $25 or $50, just a small little increase where you go, yeah, that's a nominal amount. I recently got a text message of someone that got a lease renewal of 8.3% higher than the year before. That's ridiculous, and this is what I sent back. And by the way, if you follow, and I'm going down to my notes, if you follow this, I have gotten every single person, no joke, every single person for the last 15 years to have the landlord come down to a reasonable increase because of this structure. The first thing is the landlord, against what you think, does not want you to move out. This is obviously a couple stipulations before I get into the meat and potatoes here. Okay, the stipulation is that you are a good tenant. Okay, that's first and foremost. You haven't had noise complaints, you haven't had any violations, you're not continuously late on payments, you're not smoking in your apartment, you're not partying in your apartment, your neighbors haven't complained about you, whatever. We are just saying you pay on time, you're a good tenant, and you have never had a landlord send you a notice. Okay, so that's the preface to what we're about to be talking about. So the first is the landlord wants you to stay, regardless of the amount. It could be 10% increase, it could be 4% increase, it could be 0% increase. The landlord doesn't want you to move out. Why? They now have to pay the broker. Why? Because of the FAIRS Act. The FAIRS Act, F-A-R-E-S, the fairness in apartment expenses something. I forgot the acronym. But essentially, whoever hires the listing agent pays the listing agent. In other words, they have to pay a listing agent to re-rent the apartment, number one. Number two, they have to clean and paint it. Number three, they're going to potentially have it vacant, losing money. So that's a lot of money. That's thousands of dollars, okay? Even if they don't get what they want it vacant. They don't want to go through the headache of qualifying and bringing in a new person and paying the broker fee and getting it clean and painted and everything else. So they want you there. So have the mentality, first and foremost, they want you there in the apartment. Moving on, try and get them on the phone. I know it's weird, but there's a cell phone that people happen to take photos and go on social media. It also can be used to make phone calls. I know it's sarcasm, but pick up your phone and call them because it shows your willingness and not your eagerness, but your ability to want to negotiate from what they sent you, which is usually about 2 months or 3 months from the lease end date. They'll send it out. You have to reply within 60 to 45 days, and if you don't, they'll put it on the market with a broker. So call them. This is the structure of what you do. There's 3 paragraphs or 3 talking points, and it has to be in this order. Number 1 is you have to acknowledge that you love living there. Stroke their ego. I love living here. I love the building. I love the view. I love the apartment. I love the amenities. I love the location. I love how clean it is. Just pour it out. Just pour it out. Then you start talking about you. You start saying, I've never had a noise complaint. I've been very respectful. I've paid on time. I've never been a burden. I've never asked you for anything. I've been great. I love living here. Buffer it right there. And now number 2 is you essentially have the middle part of an Oreo, which is the good and the sweetness, is that not only were you a dream tenant and you love living there, is that the market rate, you just say this because this is typically true, is 2 to 3%. That's it. And honestly, right now it's like 2 to 2.5% is year over year, okay? Obviously during COVID, it was crazy because 2020, 2021, prices were here. Now we're back to market value. So 8% is astronomically high. That's disgusting. That is predatory, to be honest, to be asking. I was offended and I'm not even the tenant. That's why I went, no, you need to push back and do not accept any of this. 2 to 2.5% from what you're paying is typical. Obviously, everyone says inflation is at 3% on average over the course of whatever amount of time. Then you start saying, hey, listen, you buffer like 2 to 3%, 2 to 2.5%. You say, why? This is why. I've been looking at apartments. There's some really great ones. I was considering maybe a place that's a little bit larger. Maybe I was considering a different location that has more amenities, or it has an elevator, or it's a little bit larger. And I'm uncertain what I want to do. So leave some doubt. Oh my gosh, I might stay, I might not stay. And actually this price of 4 or 5% is a little high right now. So this is on the phone or in an email. Okay, so the first part is, I've been amazing, I love living here, I've had no disturbances, I've had no complaints. Then you bring up market value, I've been looking at a bunch of places. And then the third part is, obviously what I've been talking about is that the landlord does not want you to leave. The call to action is not coming back with an actual number. You negotiate against, so if they come in at 8%, you say all this stuff, and then you type a call to action along the lines of, what do you think the fair market value year over year should be? And it's usually just under inflation. Don't give a number. Don't say 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, whatever. Don't give a number. If they say, well, actually, we're at 8%, we'll come to 6%, and say, I really appreciate it. Keep it amicable the whole time. The whole time. No ego, no mad, no complaining, don't have an attitude, check yourself, and come back and say, thank you for the offer. I didn't know that was of consideration this weekend. I actually was looking at a place and I was thinking more along the lines of 2 to 2.5%. Okay? Now you're starting the negotiations. Do not go in and get mad. Do not get offended, because once they start digging in their heels, you're going to dig in your heels, and then boom, and now you're exploding, and now egos are being thrown all over the place, and then it's just because is the reason that nobody comes together, or just because is why you accept 6% increase instead of a 3% or 2%. All right, so I hope this helps. If you have any questions, leave in the comments below. Subscribe for more tips and tricks here in New York City. And the FAIRS Act is something that you definitely should see the video about, because it affects you renting here in New York City permanently.